Number 1. This story takes place when I was 23 years old in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I've always been one to be kind of fearless, and at the time I had been single for quite a while. So I decided to make a Tinder profile. All my friends kept talking about it, telling me to do it, so I said, why not? What's the worst that could happen? After making a profile, I immediately matched, which I thought was weird, but I decided to say hi. Me and this older woman, I would say about 5 or 6 years older than I am, chatted for about 30 minutes or so before she said, hey, you should come over to my place. Now, me being single and having nothing to do, I kind of thought to myself, well, why not? Let's go over. So I sent her a message back, yeah, sure, send me your address. She sent me the address. I put it into the GPS, and it kicked back it would take about an hour. So I sent her a message, hey, it's about an hour drive, it's 10 o'clock, is that okay with you? And she replied immediately, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So everything's going well. The conversation we've had, I decide, you know what, let's do it, let's go. So I hop into my old Volkswagen and I start making the drive. As time goes by, I'm getting closer and closer until all of a sudden I come to a fork in the road. I make the right-hand turn like I'm supposed to, but instead of it being a paved road, I'm now on a gravel road with trees to both sides of me. Now I'm kind of getting a little cautious and nervous. Could it really be this way? Could it really be in the middle of nowhere? But I decide to keep going and chalk it up to just some paranoia. So as I'm going down this dirt road, complete blackness except for my high beams, I hit a very small dirt road after that. And again, trees are still on both sides. After about 3 minutes of driving down this very small dirt road, I start to see a building with a single light in one of the top bedrooms. So I'm a little freaked out, but I'm a big guy, very strong, athletic, not really afraid of anyone or anything. So I knew that if it was a guy instead of a girl, I should be able to handle myself. So as I pull up to the house, I realize that it's more of an abandoned building that looks to have an apartment on top of it. Nevertheless, I go ahead and text her, hey, I think I'm here, but I'm not sure. Is it supposed to be in the middle of nowhere? She responds immediately, oh yeah, no, I see your headlights. Come on up. So at this point, I'm sitting in my car, debating whether or not I should go. Maybe I should just peel out, head back home, and call it a night. But again, I've always been one not to be fearful, so I said, I can handle myself, and I decided to hop out of my vehicle. I walk up to the building, and there's a staircase on the outside that leads to the top where it looks like her apartment is. I make my way up, knock on the door, and she answers. Surprise, surprise. So I introduce myself. She's like, yeah, come on in. And we start to have a conversation. We head to her bedroom, and we're sitting on her bed talking, sharing information about one another, what we do, what we like, what we dislike. For all intents and purposes, the conversation's going really well. I started to get some hints that everything may not be as it seems. For one, she was a good 12 years older than me. A little bit older than I expected. But I'm a guy, so it's not that big of a deal. As we're sitting there talking, all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. And not like a loud knock, not like a, hey, this is so and so knock. More of a quiet knock, an eerie knock. A knock that you wouldn't typically hear if you were going to a friend's house. At this point in time, I'm like, hey, are you expecting anybody else? She looks at me and she says, no, just you, and you're already here. So I'm like, okay, are you gonna answer it? She's like, yeah, I better answer it. So as she walks out the bedroom, I immediately stand up. I head over to the window. I look out the window. I don't see any cars except for mine. I don't see any lights. Now I'm starting to get nervous. Who could be at the door? Why is someone at the door? It's already around 1 o'clock. So at this point, I'm preparing for the worst. I look down out the window and I notice that there's a ledge and the ground is only about a 15-foot drop from the ledge. And my car is probably another good 12 to 15 feet away. So I put my phone in my pocket. I put my keys in my pocket. And I start to listen. I hear a bit of a conversation out in the main entryway of the apartment. So at this point, I'm not really sure what's going on. Then all of a sudden I hear, he's in there, right? At this point, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I immediately open the window. And as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, could this be the day? Could this be the day that something terrible happens to me? Right then and there, I decided no. No, it's not. So I've already opened the window. I put my foot out the window. I put my other foot out the window. And all of a sudden, I'm on the ledge. Right as I get onto the ledge, I look back. The door opens. And it doesn't just open slowly. It full on opens in a forceful rage. Next thing I know, 2 men are coming into the room, staring right at me. I froze. I didn't know what to do. Was this a joke? Is this a game? Are they trying to be funny? And then the next thing I know, immediately, my adrenaline kicks in. I look at them, I see them staring at me, and they're not staring in a nice, polite way. I immediately jump off and onto the ground. Now, it was about a 15-foot drop, but again, I'm pretty big and athletic, so it wasn't really too bad of a landing. But as soon as I hit the ground, I bolt. I run as fast as I can to my car. I sling open the door. I close it. I pull out my keys, put it in the ignition, and just as I turn on the car, I look up, and they are already halfway down the stairs. They're coming. They're coming. By the time I put my car in reverse, they are already at the bottom of the staircase. I start flooring it. Now remember, I'm in the middle of nowhere, on dirt road. I can't see. I don't know if there's something behind me, a tree that I might hit from backing up, but I didn't care. I threw it in reverse. I backed up a good 40 feet before throwing it in drive and spinning out. Next thing you know, my phone starts to ring. I didn't care. I didn't have time to look at my phone. All I knew is I needed to get back to a main road and get out of here. Then a text comes in. "Hey," she says, "why are you leaving? Come back." I didn't respond. A phone call comes in again, but I don't answer it. Another text. Another text. Another text. I look at my phone as I get back onto the main dirt road. And all it says is, "You're lucky. You're lucky you were fast. You're lucky you jumped out the window. I will find you. And when I find you." And that was it. That was the end of the text. My heart's beating, pounding. I'm so nervous. I can't believe what had just happened. Finally, I make it back to the main road where the fork is. I get back onto the main road and I start heading home. Now at this point in time, I start to slow my speed down, as I was probably doing over 60 to 70 miles per hour on this dirt road. Right now I'm probably doing 45, 50 max. I know I dodged a bullet. I know I got lucky. And that is something I will never do again. I will never go to a stranger's house in the middle of the night without meeting them. Number 2.
This story takes place my first year of college. Now, I'm not going to name the college, and I'm going to give myself a different name for this story. You guys can call me Amy. So, it's my first year at this college, and I've settled in pretty well. I've made a couple of friends, and I hang out most with my roommate. Now, for those that don't know, our dorm is on the very back side of the Northeast campus. A lot of renovations and construction are going on in our area. In particular, they are getting ready to demolish an old building that's been around for the last 100 years. Most people only ever go to that building to hang out and drink. But this story takes place on a Tuesday night. So there's nobody ever there on a Tuesday. It only typically happens on the weekend. Well, I like to work out. I like to go to the gym and run on the treadmill. And in order to get to the gym, I have to pass through this old building. Now, usually you can go behind or in front of the building. I typically prefer to go in front of the building because it's a little bit more well lit. Well, one day, I'm sitting in my dorm room finishing homework for a project for a class that I have. And next thing I know, it's around 9 o'clock at night and I haven't worked out yet. So I decide I'm going to go run on the treadmill. So I get to the gym and there's only 1 or 2 people in there at that point in time working out. So I put in my headphones, I start listening to some music, I hop on the treadmill, and I start running. Now, I'm one of those individuals that can run at a high pace on a treadmill, and I really like to feel the burn. So I'm probably running at a comfortable speed 6, and every so often I'll speed it up to around 8. So I'm minding my own business, running on the treadmill, listening to some music. There's a TV playing in front, so I'm watching some of the news. Everything's going as it usually does. I keep to myself. I run on the treadmill. I maybe get a drink of water every couple of miles. So I've been at the gym now for about an hour and a half. It's around 10:30, and I decide, I've put in 4 or 5 miles. This is a good stopping point. I'll head back to my dorm, finish up the project I have to finish up, and then go to bed, as I have class first thing in the morning. So I'm the last one at the gym at this point. And usually you might get some late nighters that come in around 12 or 1 o'clock to get a workout in. But as of right now, there's nobody here. So I pack up my stuff, headphones still in, and I leave the building. All of a sudden, I get a text from a friend. Hey, have you finished your project? And I explained to her, no, I haven't finished. I've got a couple more things to do. I'm going to do that right now. And as I'm walking, I'm not really paying attention. And next thing I know, I'm behind the building. The old building with no lights. I'll be honest, I got a little scared because behind the building, all there is woods. And I typically never go behind the building. So what I decide to do is I decide to take my headphones out, as I want to be as cautious as possible and hear anything in my surroundings. So I'm walking behind this building, and for those that don't know, this building is a pretty long building, as it used to be one of the biggest dorms on campus. I'm chatting with my friend through texting as I'm walking behind the building, casually just strolling, minding my own business. And out of nowhere, I hear a creepy sound. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I look to my right to the building because that's where the noise was coming from. I don't see anything, and the noise had stopped. So I chalk it up to my mind playing tricks on me, and I keep walking. Well, about 15 seconds go by, and I hear the noise again. This time, louder, closer. Now I'm starting to get a little freaked out. I keep my eye on the building as I'm walking, but yet I can't see anything. I hear the noise again. And again. I'm getting closer to the end of the building, but still a stretch a ways. I look right again towards the building, and I see someone. I see someone looking at me out a window on the first floor. I can't make out this individual. I couldn't tell you if it was a boy or a girl. All I can tell you is that someone was watching me. Well, now I'm truly freaked out. I'm scared. I'm nervous. I quicken up my pace. I don't want to run as to alarm the individual, and I'm hoping that they didn't notice I noticed them. I hear the noise again. And again. And again. At this point, I am terrified. I'm hoping it's just some college students drinking inside the building, but my mind could be playing tricks on me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I decide at this point, I've definitely got to pick up my pace. I'm almost at quite of a sprint, running these last few hundred yards. When all of a sudden, I see the end of the building. I can see some light protruding from the front of the building. I'm thinking, yes, I'm home free. Then all of a sudden, I stop. I stop exactly where I am. There's an individual. There's someone, not inside the building, but at the corner of the building, looking at me, watching me, not moving, wearing all black. At this point in time, I am so scared. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I should do. Should I start running the opposite way? I look up, and the individual, they're walking towards me. Now, I'm a fast runner. I used to run track in high school. And I know that I have endurance, so I can run for a long time. However, I just spent an hour and a half on the treadmill, and I'm a little exhausted. But I can't think about that now. I have to think about my safety. The individual is getting closer. I start backing up. All of a sudden, the individual is running at me. And they're running really, really fast. I turn around and I start running back towards the gym, hoping that that would be the safest place, hoping that somebody might be there. I yell out, I'm calling the campus police. As I'm running, I dial 911, knowing that they would be able to get in touch with the campus police, as I don't know the campus police phone number. As I'm running, I'm constantly looking back to see how far away the individual is from me. He's not that far. He's pretty close. If I stopped for even a second, that person would have me. All of a sudden I hear, hey, I just want to talk. I just want to talk to you. I'm running so fast at this point. My heart is beating so fast. Thud-um, 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 thud-um. And then what I hear is a lifesaver. Hi, this is the police. Do you need fire, emergency, or police? I yell, "I need police. A man is chasing me." I'm behind an old building on the college campus. They say, "Ma'am, stay on the phone. I'm going to get patched over to the security office and let them know what's going on, and we'll have police en route as well." So at this point, I'm sprinting as fast as I can. I look back, and the individual is only 3 to 4 arm lengths away. I yell out, "Please help me. Hurry. He's right behind me." I'm getting close to the end of this building, closer to the gym. I run as fast as I humanly can. I'm running faster than I've ever ran before. Next thing you know, I clear the building. I hit the light. I see someone walking into the gym, and I yell out, "Help! Help!" The individual looks at me. Does he think this is a joke? He's not doing anything. I yell, "Help! Someone is chasing me." Immediately, the person rushes over to me. He says, "Ma'am, there's no one behind you." I'm startled. What happened to the individual chasing me? Where did he go? I said, "Listen, there was somebody chasing me. There was somebody right there behind me. I'm on the phone with the police." Next thing I know, campus police are at the gym. "Miss, are you okay? Are you okay? Is this the individual?" No. This is somebody that was walking into the gym that saw me when I was yelling for help. I don't know where the other person went. They were right behind me. They were right behind me. And now I don't see them. "It's okay, ma'am. You're going to be okay. It's okay." "What dorm do you live at?" "I live at dorm J." "Okay, not a problem. Let's wait for the police to get here, and we'll do a full-out search." I said, "Okay." About 10 minutes goes by, and the police finally show up. They start asking me questions, like what the individual looked like. Was it a boy or a girl? What were they wearing? And all I could tell them was they were wearing all black. I couldn't see their face. I couldn't see what hair they had. I definitely know it was a boy. They asked me a couple more questions that I really didn't know the answer to, and I explained that I started to hear a sound inside the building. And then next thing I know, the individual was outside the building, walking towards me, then running after me. I said, "Listen, ma'am, you're fine. You are safe. We will find this individual." Now, at this point in time, there's 5, 6 different police cars, all of campus security. Probably 15 to 20 people total are out searching the surrounding woods and building. They never did find the individual. My heart is still pounding. One of the campus security guards walks me personally to my dorm, inside, and makes sure I'm inside my room with my door closed and locked. I immediately call my family and explain what had just happened. That night, I did not sleep. The next day, I go to my classes. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm hoping that I'll be able to go back to my dorm and sleep, as I haven't slept in over 24 hours now. I call campus security, and they explained that they did not find the individual or anything pertaining to the individual. Now, I'm still pretty scared. Several weeks have gone by, and I make sure not to walk near that building ever again. One day I wake up, and the whole campus is locked down. My roommate tells me that a young girl had been kidnapped. They found her lifeless body in the old, abandoned building, wearing gym clothes. And I think to myself, that could have been me. That poor girl. She was probably just heading to or from the gym and was attacked. And I know it was the same individual that tried to catch me. Cha, 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 cha.
Number 3. This story takes place in upstate New York at the Adirondacks National Park. For those that don't know, it's a extremely large campground slash park where you can hike, fish, camp, all sorts of things to do. Me and a couple of friends of mine, Dylan, Josh, Foley, Craig, and myself, Travis, have all turned 18 and graduated from high school. We're all about to go off to colleges, some of us different colleges than others. So we decide to take one last trip to do some fishing, hiking, and exploration. We all decide that the Adirondacks would be the best place to go as it's only a 3-hour drive and we've heard a lot of great reviews. So we end up taking 2 vehicles as we have a lot of stuff we're taking with us. In the first vehicle, you have Dylan, myself, and Josh. And in the second vehicle, you have Craig and Foley. So we decide to leave first thing Friday morning at around 8 a.m. in the morning. We make a couple stops along the way, one being Dick's Sporting Goods, as that's where I always like to buy my fishing, camping, hiking equipment at. So we make a couple stops. The trip's going pretty good. We all make a pit stop and grab some food. And the time really goes by fast. Next thing you know, it's around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're pretty much pulling into the campground. So first thing we do is we all pull out all our equipment and start setting up our tents. We get all our tents set up and we look around, and to our surprise, we don't really see anybody else. We see some campgrounds that aren't being used. We don't see people walking. We really don't hear too much noise either. We think nothing of it and finish setting up everything we need to. Now, by the time everything gets set up, I would say it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. And at this point in time, it doesn't really get dark until around 7 o'clock. So we all decide we're going to go check out some fishing spots so that first thing tomorrow we can get a head start and know exactly where we want to go. So we're all walking around, talking, having a good time, drinking some beers as we're walking. And we see a couple different places we think might be good for fishing. Well, at about this time, it's around 7 o'clock. We've been hiking, I would say, for the last 2.5 hours. And we decide to call it good and head back to the campsite. We turn on our flashlights and we start heading back. We get back to the campsite and we decide we're going to make some food. So we start making our food that we brought from home and we go ahead and eat. Well, at this point in time, we start hearing noises. We all shut up so we can hear what the noise is. And we can hear music and people laughing. And we go, that sounds about right. I guess what it is some other campers nearby are partying, listening to music, having a good old time. Well, at this point, I'm pretty tired because I did most of the driving and I was up at around 4 a.m. packing all my equipment and getting ready to pick the guys up. So I tell everybody that I'm going to head in for the night. Well, Craig, Foley, Josh, and Dylan, they all want to go see what the fun is all about. They're all kind of excited, a little tipsy, and they want to go see if they can meet some girls or just have a full out party. So they all decide they're going to head off towards the direction the sound is coming from and see what the fuss is about. I let them know that I'm heading in for the night. I get in my tent. I turn on my LED lamp that I got from Dick's Sporting Goods. And I start watching some YouTube. At this point in time, they've all left. And they've been gone for about a good 30 minutes or so. I decide to go ahead and call it a night. I turn off my phone. I set my alarm for around 5:30 in the morning as I want to get up, make something to eat, get all my fishing gear ready, and then head off. Now, in my tent, I have my tackle for fishing as I've already started setting up some of the baits and tackle I want to use, but I put that to the side for the night and decide to get some sleep. As I'm laying down with the light off, my phone off, I start to hear something walking around our campsite. Now, my first reaction is it's probably a raccoon or even a deer. Then I think to myself, it's probably not a deer. Most likely a raccoon, as we had cooked food and maybe somebody left some food out or the garbage bag open. Nevertheless, I lay my head back down and try not to think about it too much. Then all of a sudden, I hear something. Something right beside my head. Something right outside of my tent. At this point in time, I don't think it's a raccoon. I think it's somebody. I immediately sit up and I say, hey guys, knock it off, it's not funny. Nobody replies. Not a single word. The movement has stopped. I repeat, hey guys, come on, it's not funny, I'm tired. I just want to get some sleep, knock it off. Again, nobody says anything. But I start to hear a noise. It sounds like it's moving away from the side of the tent I was on. And after a couple of seconds, it gets quieter and quieter as if something had been standing right beside my tent, but then just walked away. So I think to myself, it must have been an animal that got spooked and walked off. I lay my head back down, a little scared to be honest, but I'm a pretty big guy and pretty athletic, and I know I could handle myself in a one-on-one situation. So I decide just to lay my head back down and try and get some sleep. I would say about 10 minutes later, I hear that noise again. Something walking towards my tent. Now I hear it, but I don't just hear one thing, I hear two. Two things are right around me, one on each side of my tent. I immediately sit up. I reach into my fishing bag and I grab my fishing knife, a knife that I use to fillet fish, so it has a pretty decent long blade, around 8 to 9 inches or so. I grab it, I hold it tight. I say out loud, "Come on guys, knock it off. This isn't funny." No one replies. I look to my right side of the tent and I can see a hand. I can see a hand barely touching the tent and moving from the back of the tent to the front of the tent. Now at this point, I'm totally freaked out. I don't know what to do. No way police would be able to get out here in time to save me. They start making noise. They start laughing. I know how my friends laugh. This is not my friends. I yell out, "I have a gun and I'm not afraid to use it. You better leave now before I open fire." Now realistically, guys, I did not have a gun. All I had was a fishing knife, but they didn't know that. They're still laughing. They're still laughing, and they haven't left. Do they know I don't have a gun? Who would be silly enough to stick around when somebody says I have a gun and I will use it? It must be my friends. It has to be my friends. But yet I only heard 2 sets of footsteps, 2 laughters. What is going on? Immediately, they start shaking the tent. At this point, I'm petrified. I want to run out of the tent, but I don't want them to grab me. I huddle up in a ball, my knife clenched ever so tightly. I'm petrified. I want to just start slicing with my knife, but what if it is my friends and I hurt them in the process? I'm truly, truly scared and don't know what to do. All of a sudden, the tent stops shaking and I can hear footsteps walking away. At this point in time, I turn on my LED light and I send a message to Dylan. "Yo, bro, I know that was you. That's not cool, man. Not cool." About 5 minutes later, Dylan replies, "Bro, what are you talking about?" I send him a quick message back. "I know you guys were out around my tent, shaking it, laughing, putting your hands on the tent." Dylan messages back immediately, "Travis, We're not even near your tent. We're out partying at another campsite. Immediately, I froze. I froze with fear. Is he telling the truth? What if it wasn't them? He sends another message. He says, Travis, we are on our way. Hang tight. Now, at this point, I'm curled up in a ball with the knife, and it felt like at least an hour, but must have only been about 15 or 20 minutes. And I hear Dylan and the guys call out, Travis, we're back. We're back, Travis. I immediately open my tent, come outside. I push Dylan and I say, man, that was not cool, man. That was not funny. Dylan immediately grabs me and says, Travis, we haven't been back. We have not been at your tent. Whatever you're telling us, that was not us. I'm like, listen, guys, there were two people laughing, shaking my tent, walking around the campsite. They assure me it was not them. I tell them, listen, guys, we're not splitting up again. It's not happening. They assure me that they're done partying for the night and we're all going to go ahead and get some sleep. So we all pack into our tents and fall asleep, except for me, thinking about what happened, thinking about what could have happened, thinking about I was all alone. My friends were at least 20 minutes away. Nobody would have been there to save me. The next morning, I wake up. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I must have slept through my first alarm. I couldn't tell you what time I actually went to sleep at, but I woke up afraid, scared, nervous because of the night before. My friends are already up and ready to go, and they've already cooked breakfast, so at least I don't have to do that. We all get a bite to eat, finish packing our stuff up so we can go fishing for the day. And they start joking around about how scared I must have been at the campsite all by myself, trying to lighten the mood as they can tell I'm still kind of nervous and scared. We all finish eating and head out to the first fishing site. We fish until around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I myself catching the biggest fish, a 15-inch pike with some nasty teeth. It was such a great day. And throughout the whole entire day, they kept ragging on me, making fun of me, picking on me. But I tried not to let it bother me too much and just kind of tried to forget the whole situation. We get back to the campsite and nothing really eventful happens. We go out fishing the next day again, doing a little exploring as well. We head back to the campsite, pack up, and we all decide this would be a good time to leave as it's at least a 3-hour drive with no stops. We finally all make it back home, get unpacked, get settled in for the night. I decide to turn on my TV and watch a little TV before bed. As I turn on the TV, the first thing that pops up is the news. I decide to catch up on some local news, and to my surprise, they're talking about the Adirondacks. They're talking about a 17-year-old boy that had went missing Friday night. and hasn't been found yet. Cha 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 cha.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification to see upcoming videos. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment down below. Also, if you want to send us a scary story that you've gone through, you can do that in the email link below. And as always, stay classy.